Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. So the patch notes 10.5 are finally out. I'm going to go through them right here. Going to go through each different thing, what I know about it and what should we be able to expect. So without further ado, let's crack straight into it. So first up, we've got the flea market. Now the flea market's going to have additional way for us to be able to trade between players with a buy or a wanted to buy option, and you're going to be able to put different values in for each. Now this is going to have the ability to level up a skill, which is going to make it so you can have more items up for sale or items wanting to purchase. Nikita said in the past that this is based off the EVE Online system, and I've played that game before for multiple years, and it's actually a really good system for how they should implement their auction house or their flea market, or what do you want to call it, whatever you want to call it really. They've also stated they're going to implement an encyclopedia, and this is going to have all the items in the game where you can actually go through and find out which ones you still haven't found yet. The first iteration of the player rankings. Now, Nikita discussed this during the latest podcast with Clean, and that had information saying that they're going to have stuff like highest level, and there was ideas of having other things, not just kill death ratio, but the fastest to a certain level or just different elements within the game. Now, this is only the first iteration of it, and there's going to be more in the future, but I hope that they actually go down a path of highest level strength, most money in the game. Just have it really random shit out there. I don't really care what it is. Person who's ate the most Tushonka, for example. Stuff like that will actually make it a lot more fun, because you can actually just be any person in the game and just see what your ranking is for that item or that different thing, which could be really fun. The first implementation of the animations for eating food and consuming medications is actually going to be implemented in 10.5. It's not the final iteration, they've said, and the animations will be refined in the future, and they'll be adding new ones. So I'm still unsure if this means it's not completed and they might actually not have certain animations come up at all. And it might be just like a bar, who knows. But I guess we'll find out on 10.5, because I know for a fact that in their latest tweet, they said that this is the reason why the patch is actually being delayed, is because they're trying to make it so it all works perfectly. Now, the bullet hits are going to drain stamina by a different algorithm in the future. Currently, if you get hit, your stamina takes a pretty solid whack, and if you get stuck in the open, you actually get stuffed up pretty quick. I'm not really sure if this is going to be more on the severe side or the less severe side, but it's something to take note of in the future if you actually do notice that you're actually losing your stamina really quickly whilst being shot. The next one is it's the latest information on what we have on new tasks. So the ability to place player tags in a container in a stash, new mechanics quest, Tarkov Marksman series, new quest mechanics also. So there's going to be new mechanic quests. We don't know exactly what they are. Apparently they're going to be earlier, not later, like towards the end of the gunsmith, for example. They'll be more just earlier quests, but it's interesting to see where they go with this. Hopefully it'll be available really early and help with that gap for players to be able to level between, say, 5 and 20. Because that's where you get the biggest armor gaps in the game. So you want to try and get to level 20, because that's where you start really opening up a lot of things with Peacekeeper 3, and you're starting to get close to your skill levels where you can actually unlock later high level traders. So that earlier area would actually be really nice if there's some more tasks in that section. The MP7A1 SMG is going to be released. All we know about this is it's going to be somewhere between the MP5 and the M4 in cost. And it's meant to be a high penetration ammo, so it's not your normal 9mm caliber. It's actually a 4.6 by 30mm caliber, and so this is going to be hopefully an SMG that we'll be able to use later in the game, particularly in, say, maps like Factory at closer range. We have our first opportunity to have 21:9 monitor support, so your widescreen fiends out there like Spadesco, you're going to be able to use those widescreen monitors and have it at the full resolution, which is pretty cool. And blunt damage is now going to be depending on armor class and bullet penetration ratio. So it's going to be interesting where blunt damage is probably going to be based more. You want to have a mediocre ammo. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to be. We'll have to wait till Anton does some testing. I might even do some early testing myself once the wipe hits, but it'd be interesting to see that. They've redone the whole ergonomics thing previously. In the past, ergonomics did absolutely nothing pretty much. So pretty much the weapons are going to have a effect on the way you aiming speed, weapon sway, alignment of the line of sight, and loudness of equipment noise. And the ergonomics will be affected by the modifications of the weapon, the weight, and your skills as well. So this is going to make a difference with your weapon loadouts in the past, because really you just go for the best recoil. I'm not sure how much ergonomics is going to have a difference. If you really want to stack your ergonomics or your recoil, have something in the middle, it's going to be interesting because it gives me an opportunity to make some videos, because I'm really interested in seeing the effects on those kind of things, and I will be making videos in the future based on that. Now, there's a big list of mosin modifications going to be coming out. There's about a dozen in total. You mosin numpties out there that absolutely love it, get excited over that shit. Me personally, I just use a mosin for a bit of a lull and a budget setup. I don't think mosin's going to be the go-to weapon very early on, but it'll be interesting to see once the wipe hits if mosins are a highly used weapon. Now, there's been a lot of changes to the AI. They're under the title AI improvements. Now, if it's talking about how they're going to be a lot smarter in the way they act. There's actually one that really scares me even more, which is called AI frag and stun grenades throwing system has been improved. Now, I don't know about you guys, but every time a scav throws a nade at me, it hits me right in the forehead and blows up in my face. If that's been improved even more, I'm probably going to get like a rectal inspection from them, because they're going to be coming up that quickly. I'm not going to know what to do. There's a lot of other stuff with the AI, changing their hearing, their behavior. They're going to actually not be as accurate when they're running. There's some really interesting stuff there. There's nothing we can really tell until the future holds, or until we see in the future. But hopefully with those AI improvements, it'll be more of a realistic pattern on the AI scavs, instead of taking a shot at them, one of them going instantly prone and dodging the bullet. Also, let's hope there's no more leg matter, because it doesn't exist. Some minor fixes to locations in interchange woods. Nothing really that's mind-boggling, just AI can now see through the revolving doors on interchange. Woods, there's some fixes to some places being able to get stuck and being able to hide under the water. There's visual fixes. Apparently the fixed SSAO strobing effect, I pretty much can't take that off. I've got a 1080 Ti, and as soon as I touch the SSAO setting, my frames drop to like -40. So I don't know even if people actually use that effect. I always recommend turning that one off, so we'll have to wait and see with that one. And overall, there's been a lot of minor fixes, nothing to really go nuts over. Lastly, moving over to the changes, there's been an increase on quest experience. My guess on this one is it's probably going to be like those first dozen quests, because at the moment, like the first one gives like 800 XP, then it goes to like 1100 and 1500. I think that might just get boosted up a little bit, so maybe say, I don't know, maybe an extra 1,000 on the first, say, dozen quests, which overall won't make a big difference, but it'll just help with people getting out of those low levels, as at the moment, depending on where you get stuck on your quest lines, the first, say, 10 levels can be quite difficult, particularly later on after a wipe's happened. There's been rebalancing to weapon mods and ergonomics. The prices of some items to be repaired has been changed. There's been fixes to the helmet ricochets and the dying sounds. I'm not really sure which areas there were to the sounds of those, but they've been fixed. The first iteration of players nicknamed censoring, which they're going to plan to improve in the future. This has been a little bit of an annoyance for myself, because it actually states in the TOS of the game that you can't have racist, offensive names, and some of the names I see out there are just blatant racist and shit. Honestly, I don't like it. Every time I see those dog tags, I just chuck them. So I'm glad that they're actually starting to put in some sort of system to filter those ones out. There's now the option to change the sprint button and the hold breath button for shooting. So sometimes you'll go to try an ADS and you'll quickly hold down the shift button, but you'll actually start sprinting again. Hopefully that'll be changed, because you can actually now change the button on which is hold your breath. And for the people that want to just throw items really quickly, and I get this question all the time because no one even knows that the button exists, but when you highlight an item and press delete, you actually throw an item instantly. And this is now being changed that you can actually make it a different key than which is delete, which is by default. So you can actually change it in the future. The coolest thing that everyone's going to be excited for, particularly the Moslings or Mosin mans or Mosin people out there, I call them millies, you can now shoot your rifle and hold down your fire, and you'll still ADS until you want to bolt the button, until you want to bolt the rifle, which is now manual. So that's awesome for the guys that are particularly doing long shots and want to be able to see the full shot. You'll actually be able to see if you actually get a hit now, which is awesome. Also by default, just going back to that whole breathing thing, it's going to be left alt by default to hold your breath. There's also going to be a totally new column for binding your keys. You can do it either by one button, or you can actually set a second button to be able to do an option, which is actually pretty cool. So if you actually like mixing it up a little bit. They've actually made fixes to the iron sights to make them more realistic 0. In the weapon inspector, you can actually see the the recoil divided between horizontal and vertical recoil, which is pretty cool. And finally, to finish up, the press pack is now equal to Edge of Darkness account. So the guys that have press packs, which I don't really remember many out there, Delrith, maybe Clean has a spare one. There's some people out there that still have press packs, but I know they don't use them. Those accounts now are just exactly the same as Edge of Darkness. So I don't think it had a massive advantage anyway. I think it just had a lot of cash in it, which was, I guess, an advantage. But it's now get down to the Edge of Darkness. So if those people are playing, they'll have the same as everyone else. So guys, that's it for this video. If you want to ask me when the wipe is, I'm going to say it's Thursday. If it's this Thursday, the Thursday after, or the Thursday after that, I'm fairly confident it's definitely going to be on a Thursday. You know what? It's on Thursday. There you go. So the wipe is now on Thursday, confirmed on this channel with no correct source, no real person actually telling me. I've made it up. It's on Thursday, guys. Get excited for the wipe on Thursday. I will be doing a 1 to 40 stream in one hit. I'm going to actually change my sleeping pattern on Wednesday night, so I'll probably do a Wednesday night stream, sleep all through Thursday, and then come Thursday night, be ready to go for a 1 to 40 stream. So I'm anticipating it somewhere between 40 and 48 hours. If you want to check that out, go down to my Twitch link below. Give me a follow over there. If you like this video, guys, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I do stream on Twitch 6 days a week. I'm doing a couple of other games at the moment. I just played Fallout 76. I'll probably dabble into that a little bit more. And I'm going to be doing some other games. Red Dead Redemption. I'm going to play that on my couch probably for the next 18 hours on Saturday. And lastly, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Now for a quick word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Pestyly's Juice.